It's wild video. A car plucked off the highway and spun in the air by a tornado spawned by Hurricane Idalia. And here she is, the young woman who was driving the car.
All I could think was, I can't believe this is happening. This is really happening to me.
21-year-old Malaysia Smoke was driving home in rush hour traffic near Charleston, South Carolina, when disaster struck.
What did it feel like as you were upside down in the air?
It kind of felt like a roller coaster. Like I saw the ground from a different angle in my car, which was so crazy.
Her car landed on its side. And get this, she wasn't hurt.
All I did was have a scratch, maybe from glass on my left hand. I'm actually 5 months pregnant, and I was worried about the baby at the time. Everything checked out okay at the hospital.
Today, the cleanup from Idalia begins. We traveled to hard-hit Cedar Key, and the devastation there is heart-wrenching.
There was a building right here?
Homes and businesses torn apart. It will take years to get back to normal.
You're going to rebuild soon?
Yes, I don't know about soon, but we definitely want to rebuild.
The town of Crystal River was inundated by the storm surge. The streets swamped by 2 feet of water. It's where Gene and Tammy Teener built a house back in 2019 that's supposed to be hurricane-proof. They evacuated to Orlando, 90 miles away, to wait out Idalia. So, did the house survive?
The streets en route to the house, as you can see, are completely flooded. A lot of the homes here partially submerged. In fact, we don't even know if we're going to make it all the way, but we're going to try.
It's not looking good. We came across these neighbors rescued by airboat. Their house was flooded.
Within maybe 2 hours, we were completely 14 to 16 inches inside the home.
And here it is, the hurricane-proof house. It's still standing. I broke the news to the Teeners via FaceTime.
It does look good. Everything here is clean.
Oh, wow. That's good. Oh, that's very good.
The circular shape helps deflect hurricane-force winds, and the high-impact windows are practically impenetrable. The entire house, designed and built by Deltic Homes, is anchored by columns that go down 20 feet into the earth.
Wow. That is solid.
It's great. We didn't have to worry about anything.
Looks good.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for showing us around the house.
Yes.
An extraordinary act of human kindness. As tornado sirens blare, 16-year-old Seth Phillips pushes a double amputee in a wheelchair out of harm's way. His mom is following in her car, recording it all on her cell phone. What was it about him, Seth, that made you realize, I gotta help this guy?
My biggest fear was that, I'm going to be very honest with you, this man wouldn't make it home and he wouldn't be all right.
It happened as the devastating tornado swept through the capital of Missouri, Jefferson City. The man in the wheelchair lost his legs due to diabetes. He is also legally blind. And yes, Seth brought him to safety in time.
I am incredibly proud of my child. He has a very good heart.
And here's another act of kindness that shows America at its most warm-hearted. A neighborhood turns to say farewell to their beloved mailman.
You're all here.
Floyd Martin delivered the mail along his route in Marietta, Georgia, with a friendly smile and wave that brightened the day. He always had treats for the neighborhood dogs and watched the children grow.
Get together with Floyd.
Now, after 35 years, Floyd Martin is retiring, and the neighborhood bid him a fond farewell.
I loved him.
Goodbye, Mr. Martin. Enjoy your retirement.
I was just crying.
This 4-year-old may never forget seeing a tree fall on her mobile home as Hurricane Michael touched down in Florida. But Daniela Olvera and her family were able to evacuate to a shelter.
When they said it was a Category 3 becoming a 4, I said, let's go.
Other families were not so fortunate. 2 deaths reported so far were caused by falling trees. One of them was an 11-year-old girl in Georgia, the other a man in Florida. Michael came close to a Category 5 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 155 miles per hour. It was the most powerful storm to hit Florida in a century. The destruction could be seen all over the state, and many evacuees say they weren't taking any chances.
The surge is what scared me.
It's now been downgraded to a tropical storm and is expected to move over the Atlantic Ocean.
What do you stand to lose back home?
Nothing. Just material things that can be replaced.
Hurricane Ian left one Florida woman with a childbirth story she never could have imagined.
I'm just gonna have to get through this.
Chelsea Smith told WINK that she was 9 months pregnant when Hurricane Ian battered Florida. She and her family weathered the storm inside their Lee County home, with one notable addition: her doctor sister Delana joined them.
Just seeing all of the debris flying everywhere, the trees being uprooted, was definitely not the most ideal circumstances outside, but inside the house we seem to be doing okay.
The storm knocked out electricity just as Chelsea's baby decided it was time to be born. They used flashlights, as well as Dr. Horsford's medical training to light the way. But to transition from being sister to physician, Dr. Horsford did one symbolic gesture.
To kind of get my mind right, I put on my scrubs.
During a historic hurricane, a healthy baby girl joined the family. And despite being named Justice, this little one already has an appropriate nickname: Stormy.
A tiny symbol of hope stands out in bright pink amid the gloomy rubble of what used to be a lively neighborhood in Syria as she and her new family look ahead to what's next. Everything changed in an instant when on February 6th, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake shook parts of Syria and Turkey, reducing towering buildings to dust, taking an estimated 46,000 lives and counting. Digging through the mess the disaster left behind, rescuers could not believe the sight. A crying infant whose mother gave birth to her while buried underneath the rubble, umbilical cord still attached. Her mother did not survive. A day after the infant arrived at the hospital, officials there named her Aya, Arabic for a sign from God. Her uncle Khalil al-Sawadi told the AP that during that time, he would cry over her day and night because he was scared someone would try to take her or kidnap her. It's why he says he worked so hard to make sure he took all the proper steps to prove they were related so he could legally adopt her. Now she goes to a new home with Khalil, her paternal uncle and aunt. They renamed her Afra after her mom. Afra's father and 4 siblings also perished in the disaster. Al-Sawadi and his wife have 4 daughters and 2 sons, and he says little tiny Afra will not be treated any differently than his biological children. And maybe that same hope that rescued her will remain at the forefront of her journey. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm Stephanie Officer.
This was the tearful moment a mother reunited with her baby. There were hugs, kisses, and cries. The 3-month-old was saved after being pulled from rubble 5 days after a deadly earthquake in Turkey. A DNA test confirmed the infant was this woman's daughter. It was a journey to get them back together. A woman takes the baby from what looks like a child care center into a van and then a plane. From the airport, she was taken to the hospital to be with her mother. This was 54 days after they had been separated in the earthquake. The baby's father and 2 brothers were 3 of the more than 56,000 people who died in the disaster. Thankfully, this little girl was unharmed.
What a reunion! Mweza the cat is back with his human, Arif Bayraktar. The 42-year-old bookstore owner lost his pet in the recent 5.9 magnitude earthquake that rocked Turkey. The little white kitten looks so happy to be back in his owner's arms, comfy and his eyes closed, and a little nibble on his finger to let Arif know just how much he is appreciated. Now little Mweza is back at home in the bookstore, keeping guard, knowing that come what may, these two will not let anything keep them apart.
People around the country have donated Pokémon cards to a boy who lost his during Hurricane Ian. Hurricane Ian tore through the southern United States and Caribbean in September, taking with it the important things like businesses and homes, as well as the little things that we hold dear. 12-year-old Mason's house in Siesta Isles, Florida was destroyed. Along with it, his prized collection of Pokémon cards.
I was really disappointed. I should have packed them because they were like special to me.
As the family was clearing through the wreckage of their home, Mason got a surprise and a lift to his spirits. Thousands of Pokémon cards were donated to Mason to make up for the ones Ian ruined.
It's a bunch more.
Mason's mother, Andrea, told WINK how this generosity made her feel.
I'm so grateful that people around the world and all in New York and around here have reached out and sent cards and their collections. I mean, their personal collections.
While the trading cards were replaced, the family still faces hardship that isn't so easily remedied.
It's hard. We miss our house. We miss our routine, but we're managing.
As this family creates a new normal, 12-year-old Mason can smile a bit over the little things, like new Pokémon cards.
Nightmare as a car heads down the highway. It sure is, and within seconds, it engulfs them.
We're gonna die. I love you. I love you.
Savannah and Brandon Burjon were driving down I-49 in Arkansas, towing a new camper. They tried to outrun the storm.
Speed up! Get out of here! Oh my God, babe, it's right on top of us.
The warning signs mount.
Brandon, I'm scared! Brandon, I'm real scared!
We really only had one option. We just had to try and get through it.
Then their worst fears come true.
Dear God, never please forgive me for my sins! Brandon, we're gonna die. I love you. I love you.
It actually picked us up from behind off the ground, and then it slammed us down.
Their pickup was left upside down in a ditch. Savannah and Brandon had to crawl out of a shattered window.
There was glass and debris everywhere.
Thankfully, they were not injured. A miracle they put down to their seatbelts.
They were the best house guests that we've ever had.
Strangers that felt like family. Jennifer and Mark Bell from Florida took in 70 foster kids after Hurricane Irma left them without shelter in September. InsideEdition.com told their story of generosity at the time.
They were hungry, they were tired, they lived in a gymnasium for a week, they hadn't showered for a week, and you saw how excited they were.
Now the couple explains how they fared with dozens of kids taking shelter in their home for 3 days.
We had Bobby the Balloon Guy, we had Ziggy the Clown, we had ice cream trucks, we had sports games on the fields for them, you know, we kept them busy.
So what did they eat?
Chicken fingers, pizza, and we first took a quick survey and asked them, what do you want to eat? And they all screamed out pizza. And the next, 2 hours later, 20 pizza pies showed up. And that's how we started.
We caught up with the Bells in New York City. They were the co-chairs for a screening of the film Mama. Proceeds from the event go towards foster children in South Florida. CBS senior executive Scott Kundell, who was a foster child, spearheaded the fundraiser with his wife.
We want to build awareness, and we also want people to realize that say something to a friend who might be thinking of adopting a kid, maybe taking a foster kid and adopting a foster kid.
As for those who hail Jennifer and Mark heroes for taking in 70 children,
we are not heroes. The people who came out are heroes. We volunteered for this. The people who came out and helped us, it's the 150 volunteers who came out, those are the real heroes.
10-year-old Eli Pugh is one of the people still missing in the wake of Hurricane Michael. Panama City radio station WPAP broadcast an appeal to locate Eli, and I joined the search. Eli's mom hasn't heard from him since the storm hit like a buzzsaw. He was staying with his father.
They decided to stay at home, but then the roof got blown off their house, so they left in the middle of the storm.
They left in the middle of the storm.
I don't know where they went.
She makes this sign, and she and her two sisters go door to door asking anyone in the neighborhood who might know what happened to Eli and his dad.
Y'all know Billy Pugh?
He's like this tall, he's got black hair, and he's kind of chunky.
We finally find the house where Eli was staying.
They saw him yesterday, now we know he's okay, right? We know he made it through the storm.
These are Eli's sneakers left on the porch, but no sign of the boy. He says he can show us. Then a friend of Eli says he thinks he knows where Eli is. So we've been trying to find Eli all day. We've been running around his neighborhood trying to see if he's okay. We found this young boy who says that Eli and his dad are staying at a house nearby. He knows how to get there, so we're going to follow him right now. Thanks, bud. He takes us to the house, but it's another dead end. Eli's not there. Eli! Then, suddenly, Eli and his dad pull up out of nowhere.
Oh, I love you. Can we go together?
Oh, we got you, buddy.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you fine?
It's an emotional reunion, a distraught mom and her missing son. Eli told me how he rode out the storm.
It blew the window out, and I was scared.
We just couldn't get out. We tried to send text and all, but it failed.
Amid so much devastation, it's one small reason to celebrate. All the way around, guys. We found them. Nice work. Nice work.
This woman is walking out of her house. Just an ordinary day. Suddenly, she screams. What's that sound? Oh no, it's a gaggle of geese, and they're coming for her.
A violent tornado is coming at her, and the woman recording it is about to learn she should have turned off her camera and run for shelter.
Oh, I'm getting this.
Look out, here comes the twister, and the woman at the doorway is definitely in harm's way. Her husband tries to slam the door shut, but no luck.
Oh my God.
The tornado starts to literally suck the woman out of the dental office in Little Rock, Arkansas, while knife-sharp debris flies in.
The windows blew out, and when it did, it sucked me out the door. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna die.
Only hanging onto her husband's arm for dear life saved her.
I just grabbed her arm and sat there and held her.
Somehow, Jimmy Shaw was able to brace himself against the doorframe while he held onto his wife, Kimberly.
He saved my life. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today.
The office today is in ruins, and Jimmy was left with deep gashes.
I had stitches there. I just pulled some glass out of that yesterday.
Kimberly says her days of recording tornadoes are over.
Just stay safe. Don't be dumb like me and try to videotape something that is going to cost you your life.
And a storm chaser drives right into the path of a monster tornado in Iowa. His partner, who's watching from a safe distance, screams for him to turn back.
Back the up, Brandon. Back the up. Dude, stop!
The storm chaser is warned there's debris flying right at him.
I see it.
You do not see it.
I'm in Jacksonville. I'm on board an Atlantic Ocean Beach rescue truck. The wind is certainly picking up. The waves are looking more massive. I spent the day with the folks on the front lines who are trying to get the East Coast ready for anything that Hurricane Dorian will throw at them. We were there just as the ocean rescue team got an urgent call to save someone in the rough waters. Right now in Jacksonville, it's high tide. It's extremely dangerous for anyone to be out there swimming in this ocean. This was the scene on the beach as a bulldozer built barriers in anticipation of a storm surge. This berm is about 7 feet high. This whole entire dune. This is protecting the people who live here, and this is also protecting the people who work here, the hotels, the restaurants. There are multi-million-dollar homes.
The water is closed. Once again, the water is closed.
Ocean Rescue Captain Rich Banks issued one final warning. How serious is this?
It's very serious.
We found 2 youngsters helping their mom with sandbags to protect their home.
I'm worried.
You're worried, sweetie? What are you worried about?
The hurricane.
No food deliveries are coming into the city. And you have no more food left to feed us.
We've unfortunately run out.
Our hotel room is now our Hurricane Dorian command center. We've stockpiled on food, water. We have our TV gear, safety gear, hard hats like this. Because this storm is so unpredictable, we're ready.
The cheers are contagious, even from the other side of the screen. You can't help but smile, even tear up as rescue workers celebrate. A family in Syria being saved from the rubble caused by a devastating earthquake. One by one, they are pulled out after being stuck for over 2 days. Rescuers from the White Helmet Group lift the kids up high so that everyone can see they made it out alive. Then they were rushed to an ambulance. The 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck Syria and Turkey on February 6th. At least 11,000 people have been killed and thousands more injured as rescue and recovery work continues.
Total devastation. It's the heartbreaking moment the mother of country music superstar Luke Bryan returns to her home in Florida for the first time since Hurricane Michael swept through. LeClaire Bryan can't believe what she found. Her condo on Mexico Beach, ground zero for the historic storm, now a complete wreck. Luke Bryan is the highest paid country music artist according to Forbes magazine. He's also a judge on American Idol. 71-year-old LeClaire actually surprised him on the show last May.
What?
5 months later, she is in despair, literally picking up the pieces of her home. In the debris, she found this framed copy of sheet music from her son's first #1 hit, ironically titled, Rain is a Good Thing.
Rain is a good thing.
But like any good country song, she knows she can overcome the hardship.
They lost everything in a tornado. Well, almost everything.
This is the neighborhood after a tornado struck a town north of Dallas, reducing homes to firewood. Dakota Hudson was planning to propose to his girlfriend when the tornado hit, but he lost the engagement ring in the rubble. That's when the Dragons, a local junior college softball team, volunteered to help.
I can pass out, y'all.
Suddenly, they find it, a miracle in the mud.
I pulled it out, and when I realized it, I just my jaw dropped, and my teammate was sitting right beside me, and we both just looked at each other and started screaming. And then it was like a triggered reaction of the whole team started screaming.
Right there, Dakota got down on one knee and proposed to girlfriend Lauren Patterson, surrounded by debris. Something to celebrate in a scene of devastation.
Couple says they'll be planning their wedding when they're done cleaning up from the tornado. We wish them the best.
This is the aftermath of a tornado that ripped through parts of Indiana. People's belongings, and for many, a lifetime of memories scattered everywhere. This young couple took shelter in their bathtub.
I just remember I kept praying to God. I was just like, please don't take my baby.
The baby, named Miley, was 1 week old. Madison and her husband Noah just moved into their home to start their new chapter as a family 3 months ago.
She just came into this world, and if we lost her, I don't think I would have been able to recover from that.
As the tornado was approaching, Noah got everyone into the bathroom. Miley was in her car seat. Dad did what he had to do.
Just looked at them and talked to them. Just everything was okay. So I just calmed down, and I realized that everything was going to be all right, given that we have everything that we do.
At least 3 people died and more than 200 buildings were damaged in the tornado, according to the Tribune-Star. But through all the damage, a bright spot.
I know that she's here and she's okay. That's what keeps me going, is when I look at this and I see all the heartbreak, but then I look at her little face, it all feels better.
Come on a little bit more. Come on.
Police in Fayetteville, North Carolina came to the rescue of a mother and baby while patrolling streets flooded by Hurricane Matthew.
All right, guys, right now we are live. Okay, we are on Robinson Street near MLK Highway. As you can see right now, there's a car stuck in the roadway.
Officers used Facebook Live as they drove around in a special military vehicle designed to drive through water to show how serious the situation is and to encourage people to stay in their houses.
She's standing on top of her vehicle, guys. Do not go out.
That's when they happened upon this woman with her baby in desperate need of help. Officers backed up to the car and formed a human chain to reach for the child, who seemed terrified of what was happening.
Oh, come on, sweetie. Oh,
come here.
They helped Mom out of the flooded car and into their vehicle next. Officials said several people were still unaccounted for in the city and hope anyone who sees their videos will heed warnings to stay home until it's deemed safe to go out.
In the Bahamas, 50 people are now confirmed dead, and there are 2,500 names on lists of missing persons, all in the wake of Hurricane Dorian. While disaster recovery continues there, back at home, a little boy who'd been stuck in the Bahamas after the storm got a very warm welcome when he came back to school.
Group hug. These adorable preschoolers are excited to see their little buddy, who with his mom Takara, found themselves trapped in Hurricane Dorian-ravaged Bahamas.
I've been through hurricanes, but this one was totally different. This is something unexplainable.
After a really rough week, 3-year-old Makai finally returned home to Pembroke Pines, Florida, and his classmates were elated.
And my reaction, I'm like, oh my God, like these little kids must have some type of sense that Makai was missing and something happened and something went wrong and that we need to comfort him. And for me as a mom, like that was really touching. I needed to see that. And I felt like my Bahamian family and friends, they needed to see that as well.
Comfort him they did.
God, we miss you. Aww.
Well, I had fallen asleep on the couch last night. All of a sudden, there's this deep, roaring, thundering, just loud boom and everything shaking. I woke up, I thought it was a thunderstorm at first, but then the chandelier was shaking, things were falling off, I heard glass break, sprinted upstairs, regrouped with my family, make sure everyone up there was okay.
I was like kind of scared because I didn't really know much that was happening. Like I just woke up and then everyone's gathering around screaming earthquake.
Primarily, the house didn't suffer much structural damage, no obvious damage at least, because we have bolted down all the cabinets, all the TVs, because my parents and I have lived in San Francisco, so we're expecting to have the big one. We want to be prepared for that. I didn't think that our security camera would capture something like this, but I'm really glad it did because it put a lot into perspective, thinking about, what did we do? Were we prepared? Is there anything that we can change for the future to make sure that we're ready if something like this happens again?
This was my house, and it's gone. I had a bad earthquake last night and woke me up. My TV fell over on the bed and got me up, and everything had just fallen all over. And so I made my way to the door and came outside to check see about the neighbors, and everybody was congregated out here. The house right in back of me was on fire, and there was an explosion, and it was really burning. We went up to the clubhouse, and then in the meantime, my house caught on fire. And first, I heard it was just the back part would burn, but then later they come and said it was all gone, that everything was gone.
The special blend is actually the finished wine that we produce, which is a blend from different vineyard sources. And so these bottles were the original wines that we try and keep separate every year, so that we can reference those wines and go back and taste them and see how the vineyards evolve over time, and our picking decisions and our viticultural decisions. And so to lose those wines is kind of like having your library of books, burn up, and you lose all your knowledge. So it's very disappointing. They're completely irreplaceable, that we can't ever get those wines back. I know that we have employees whose homes have been damaged, cars have been damaged, or they have family that has a situation. So I think the main thing right now is to make sure they're safe, make sure their families are safe, and and just pull up by our bootstraps and keep working and making wine.
Nothing short of miraculous. This rescue of a teen and a dog in the aftermath of a devastating earthquake hit just off the coast of Turkey. Insi Okan on a stretcher, lifted to safety as rescuers tear through the rubble looking for survivors, as the country's Disaster and Emergency Management Authority says the death toll has climbed into the dozens, and with nearly 1,000 people injured. here, you can see rescuers pull a paw from the rubble, cover the dog in a blanket, and place the pup on a stretcher. The quake was actually centered in the Aegean Sea. Seismologists have registered it as a 7.0 on the Richter scale. For days, officials have been combing the streets for survivors. This drone footage shows just how jarring the aftermath is. Many people spending nights in the streets, too scared to return to their homes, even if they weren't damaged.
You scared a little? All right, then me too, okay? You'll be all right.
A moment of vulnerability between a woman trapped in an overturned SUV and the first responder who found her.
It's on inside. I'm trying to see if I can see some money inside. All right, I do have some money trapped inside. Hey!
This happened in Slidell, Louisiana, moments after an EF2 tornado with winds between 111 and 135 miles per hour ripped through the area. Officer Rodney West of the Slidell Police Department left his car and began patrolling the affected area on foot. He first came to a destroyed boat shop.
Are y'all okay? Everybody's all right? You got everybody accounted for? Hey, you got everybody? Everybody's got all the fingers and toes?
It was in the parking lot of a McDonald's where West saw the overturned vehicle.
Hey, can you hear me? Hello?
Firefighters arrived on the scene to free the woman from her car.
You're good. I'm gonna get a saw and cut this out. We'll just pull you out this way, okay?
Amazingly, the rescued woman was able to walk away from the frightening scene.
The female's been removed from the car now.
She waited for medical attention inside the McDonald's.
Hey, she's gonna come in with y'all for a little bit, okay?
Can I come in?
Yeah, come on. We gotta go around this way, come on.
The National Weather Service says this tornado blew an average of 120 mile-per-hour winds across an area of 9.3 miles. For Inside Edition Digital, I'm TC Newman. Powerful stories that change the way you think. Impactful investigations that change the way you see.
How many times has your car been stolen?
5 times.
Yeah. What? Do you think that you're a responsible owner of tigers?
I damn sure do.
Heartwarming moments that change the way you feel.
Amazing.
Now available in a place that changes the way you watch TV. Inside Edition, streaming.
It's a classic movie moment when a tornado blows through Kansas, sending Dorothy and her little dog Toto flying up in the sky. It sounds like a Hollywood fantasy, but it just happened in real life to this Florida woman whose home literally lifted off its foundation during a twister. She spoke with Amber Cogliano.
Oh my God, look at that.
Tornado dead ahead.
It's humongous. It's a giant tornado. It's coming right towards you.
And this woman experienced something that's straight out of the Wizard of Oz. Just like Dorothy, Erica Van Swearingen's house was lifted right off its foundation.
We were weightless. It was the eeriest feeling. I mean, it felt like we were in the air forever.
You felt weightless. How scary is that?
The most insane thing ever, and I've got stuff floating around me, and I know it probably wasn't that long, but it felt like an eternity. Then it just dropped us.
After the storm passed, Erica took stock of the damage. The entire house had moved about 6 feet and is now uninhabitable.
I don't know if you can see it. That pipe stood straight up.
Even though she doesn't know where she's going to live, Erica is finding humor in her situation.
And there's the house, and here you are. And that's all that's left of the Wicked Witch of the East.
I was wearing the black and white tights that morning.
No.
So I put them out underneath the house, and I painted a pair of boots pink with sparkles on them, and I put a sign out front saying we're not in Kansas anymore.
Tap your heels together 3 times.
Of course, Dorothy just had to click her heels to make it all better. It's going to take a lot more to fix Erica's problems.
There's no place like home.
Erica says she is working with the American Red Cross to help her find temporary housing, and we wish her the very best.
Once I saw her, I started crying. I could barely hold it together, but it was so difficult to stop crying.
Her prayers answered. Casey Stacy was relieved when she saw on TV that her mom was okay following Hurricane Michael. Muriel Stacy was featured on the CBS Evening News.
So you just moved down here? From Michigan?
She showed anchor Jeff Glore the damage to her Panama City, Florida home. Muriel just moved from Michigan to avoid the harsh winters. only to discover the South's deadly hurricanes.
Muriel still hasn't been able to contact relatives back in Michigan where she moved from to let them know she's okay. We're trying to help her do that, but she is in a very difficult spot tonight, as so many are.
While this interview aired on TV, Casey was miraculously watching. So she messaged the CBS Evening News' Facebook page to get in touch with her mom.
I just turned the TV on and I just happened to walk out into the living room at the exact time that I saw them walking up to the house, and I recognized it instantly.
A daughter at ease knowing mom survived the storm thanks to live TV. A narrow escape from the deadly Nashville tornadoes. A woman named Kaylee tells a local news station that her boyfriend woke her up just in time to take cover.
I was dead asleep, so he woke me up, and we turned on the news and just saw that there was a tornado. Wasn't really sure how serious it was, and then they were saying it was like coming towards East Nashville.
The city of Nashville is trying to pick up the pieces after tornadoes ripped through its communities in the middle of the night. More than 20 people were killed, but many were able to escape with their lives. The governor of Tennessee declared a state of emergency. Dozens of buildings were destroyed and many people were also unaccounted for. Kaylee says she was thankful to have been spared.
My boyfriend is a true hero, honestly, because I would have slept through the whole thing. My mom used to say I sleep through anything, and yeah, I almost slept through a tornado.
Celebrities with ties to the area offered their sympathies. Dolly Parton was one of them.
We are all with you and hope that your family's okay and your property is going to be able to get mended pretty soon, get your lights back on, but just wanted you to know you're being thought of.
Shelters have been set up for people displaced by the disaster. Meanwhile, rescue teams are searching for the missing as the people of Nashville hold out hope for their neighbors.
Tornadoes in Florida damaged homes and businesses on Thursday night. The dark clouds were seen near the city of Clearwater before touching down. The National Weather Service in Tampa Bay has confirmed the twisters were rated at least an EF2. That means the wind speeds inside the funnel hit between 111 and 165 miles per hour. According to officials, tornadoes caused a wall and the roof to cave in on a woman who is sleeping in this house. Luckily, she was uninjured. Vehicles parked outside took a lot of the damage. In one instance, a drainage pipe went through the windshield of a car. Once daylight hit on Friday, authorities got a better grasp on what needed to be done. Energy trucks went out to restore power in the area. Now residents and authorities are surveying the damage and figuring out what needs to be done to repair it. There is no official estimate on the amount of money it will take to fix the property damage. But as the mayor of Crystal River says, these tornadoes did not hurt the most precious things.
We have no reported major injuries and no reports of death, which is truly remarkable.
Damage assessment teams are continuing to document issues caused by the tornado.
At least 1,300 people are dead, thousands more injured after a magnitude 7.2 earthquake hit Haiti about 78 miles west of the capital, Port-au-Prince, Saturday. This as the country is reeling from the assassination of their president in July, ongoing civil unrest, and still trying to rebuild from 2010's magnitude 7.0 earthquake. Rescue crews are arriving just as a tropical depression is shaping up to touch down on the already ravaged areas, with homes split in two, buildings reduced to rubble. A woman and child pulled from beneath the concrete. Haitian officials say more than 7,000 homes were destroyed and nearly 5,000 damaged. Haiti's prime minister has declared a month-long state of emergency, and doctors scramble as the country is short on medical workers in the middle of a global pandemic. Ambulances rushed some to a small plane to be flown to Port-au-Prince for care. Search and rescue crews from U.S. Aid have arrived, and the U.S. Coast Guard is delivering medical supplies and airlifting the critically injured. The island bracing itself for the impact of Tropical Depression Grace, expected to dump heavy rain which could lead to landslides and flooding.
The snowstorm of 2021 will go down in the record books as one of the biggest ever, but the family of this little girl will remember it for a very different reason than the massive amounts of snow that hit the Northeast. She entered the world just as the storm was blowing through, and though Mom and Dad tried really hard, they weren't quite at the hospital by the time she arrived. Stephen Fabian has details.
She's a real-life snow angel. Baby Molly was born in the front seat of her parents' car during the monster snowstorm. Mom, Caitlin Vakina, and her husband, David, got as far as the hospital entrance, but the baby wouldn't wait.
I just told my wife, look, don't worry about it. You know, when you got to push, you push. I'm here to catch. And, 4 pushes later, what seemed like an eternity, but was probably less than a minute, she ended up pushing out this beautiful little girl.
Dr. Teresa Adams rushed outside Bacchus Hospital in Connecticut to take care of the baby.
I was worried about the cold. I really wanted to get the baby inside as soon as we could just to make sure that she was warm.
They immediately wrapped her in warm blankets and made sure that she was nice and warm.
Within 20 minutes, they were upstairs in a warm delivery room, snuggling with their newborn.
We had someone go off recently.
A storm chaser in Jewel, Iowa is a hero after saving a couple stranded on the side of the road.
Yeah, it's pretty intense right now. I don't know if you can see the telephone wire just shaking like crazy.
Their car slid into a ditch as they drove to a doctor's appointment.
We had probably arrived 5 minutes after it happened. So I think we were both lucky, and everyone was lucky they didn't actually hit one of us or anyone else.
So Clarence Smith and an energy company worker decided on the best course of action.
I think we should even try pulling them out with all this weather.
That wind really felt like it was just going to take your legs out from under you.
They safely rescued the pair one at a time.
I'm going to go help your husband. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
They were glad that we were both there, and the shock of it I think was still wearing off a little bit for them to sort of wrap their head around it all. I'm sure that's not anything less than a traumatic experience.
The storm chaser told KCCI when it comes to snowy weather, it's best not to take any chances.
You could be here in Des Moines and have no idea a blizzard's going on, and you get, a mile or two out of town, and it's just whiteout conditions.
It's a city of mud. Knee-deep sludge traps citizens in Cathedral City just outside Palm Springs. And today, I became stuck in the quicksand-like mud along with my cameraman.
We're trying to go over to some homes where some residents are stuck, and here it is, I'm stuck in the mud.
Good Samaritans shovel away to work at freeing my legs.
This foot is I just can't get this.
Finally, success. My boot came off, but I'm no longer trapped. My cameraman, Eric, also needed to be rescued.
My boot's stuck. What should I do? I got 1 foot out.
The operator of a tractor tries to pull him out. No luck.
No.
So the same Good Samaritans come to the rescue. They're barefoot, which helps them trudge through the mud. After more digging, Eric's freed, and we ride out on a front loader. It's just like yesterday's dramatic rescue in the same type of front loader in Cathedral City. In a first-of-its-kind rescue, firefighters placed the seniors in the bucket and held them in a bear hug, and off they went. Today, this homeowner has a team of family members helping her dig out.
I haven't been able to open the inside door to the garage because I'm afraid of what's going to be inside.
As we walk through ankle-deep mud to her backyard, we find what used to be her pool and jacuzzi.
You're telling me this was a pool and a jacuzzi?
Yes, this is a pool. The pool was right here in the middle. The jacuzzi is right at the end.
Watch out for that tree. Rain-saturated ground gives way, sending a tree crashing into a house. The horrified wife lets out a blood-curdling scream, calling out her husband's name. Steven! She's in disbelief. On the other hand, her husband seems pretty calm.
I got it. I got it on video.
The damage at the home in Sacramento left it a total loss.
The roof just collapsed in.
I spoke with the homeowner, Amanda Little, who moved into a hotel last night.
I was terrified, literally in shock. This tree is falling, and it's falling on our house now.
Your husband seemed to be very calm.
Yeah, I'm usually the calm one, and so is he, but you truly don't know how you're going to react in a natural disaster.
And it was a near disaster for this driver.
Ow! Oh my God.
Non-stop rain sent a tree toppling onto her car outside Santa Cruz. Large branches nailed her vehicle, but she was able to reverse out of the mess.
If I had been maybe 3 feet in front of where I was when it fell, it would have, the big part of the trunk would have come right through my windshield.
300 mudslides have hit just in Los Angeles, leaving cars swallowed up and many homes uninhabitable. This neighborhood of multi-million-dollar homes north of Beverly Hills was inundated with mud and debris. Cars here are buried window deep in sludge. This man's home was spared, but he fears what's next.
The biggest concern now is going to be if we have any winds, because the ground is so compromised, in the soil that we may have trees blowing over now.
In another LA neighborhood, look at this mountain of mud in what used to be a backyard.
It's crazy. I was not expecting this.
The mud actually pushed in her bedroom window. Today, the gunk covers her entire bedroom floor and is piled high. She faces months of rebuilding, just like this homeowner who lost everything in an instant.
She's Police Officer of the Year for a reason. In a snap decision, Officer Sharnice Hawkins from Maryland helped a huge turtle cross the road in the middle of a storm.
I was leaving an honor guard ceremony for the department, and from a distance, with all the rain, I thought that there were 2 cars that, had been in an accident.
But it wasn't an accident holding drivers up. It was a snapping turtle like this one. At more than a foot wide, she says it was the largest she'd ever seen.
I just wanted to help it get across the street, and it was inching. So I was like, okay, I'll just kind of walk with it as it crosses.
A passerby snapped a photo of the officer's good deed. Officer Hawkins explained it's her job to play different roles.
So whether it be a police officer, whether it be animal control if they're not there, it was pouring down raining, so of course someone would be like, oh my God, what am I doing? But, that's just my duty for that moment.
She says after helping the turtle cross the road, her shoes were ruined. But it was worth it if her actions changed people's minds about cops.
That we aren't all the bad guys. That's a certain percentage, but majority of us, if not, the most of us are just really out here wanting to do something good.
I'm Kelly Nealon for InsideEdition.com.
What happens when you go outside with wet hair? This family found out. Her hair is standing straight up, and Mom looks like she just got electrocuted.
Mike and my stepdad were kind of like looking outside, and Mike goes, oh my God, there's a tornado.
Can anybody hear me? Hey, I'm with the sheriff's office. We've got help on the way, okay? Just stay with me.
Here in the Midwest, you have tornado warnings and you take cover all the time, but nothing ever comes of it. When it does, it's unbelievable almost. This is Mike, Owen, Kinley, Bryson, and I'm Curry. Part of me felt like something could happen, but no part of me thought that we wouldn't be safe. It was the beginning of March, which isn't technically tornado season. We decided we were going to go up to see my parents for the weekend and my little brother Seth, because they had recently moved to Iowa. So Friday, we explored the woods and rode bikes through the woods and drove the tractor around and just hung out as a family and played games and grilled, and it was a beautiful day. And then Saturday we made breakfast, and then my mom and I played a game at the kitchen table while the kids were playing around the living room and the kitchen. And then we noticed it started to rain, so we were trying to gauge when to go see the alpacas at the alpaca farm. And finally we saw like a break in the rain, so we're like, well, let's just leave the stuff where it is and we'll come back to it. So we left and went and fed the alpacas and went to the gift shop, and Owen got like a little stuffed alpaca. And it was a really fun time. We noticed the weather was a little bit odd, and they said there were chances of bad weather, but there was no watch or warning at that point. And then they came out with a watch, but there were no sirens or anything, and so gauging on when to take cover versus just kind of hang out and just thinking it was a storm was hard. And we started looking around the house thinking like, where's going to be the best spot to take shelter if we need to. And we decided the middle of the house under the big staircase in the pantry would be a safe place. But it wasn't like a for sure thing, and there were still no sirens or anything. And so we're like, okay, you know, we can just go hang out in the pantry. And Mike and my stepdad were kind of like looking outside, and we were all in the pantry, and Mike goes, "Oh my God, there's a tornado." I guess Mike saw the trees start coming up, and so him and my stepdad basically just jumped into the pantry. And I remember my stepdad saying, "Hold on, guys." I guess we landed, and you could just hear everybody just like crying, and everybody was stuck, and I was trying so hard to just push stuff off, but nothing was moving. And then I heard Mike crying and saying, "Oh my God, I'm gonna die." And I didn't hear Bryson, and my mom was behind me, and her arm was kind of over my shoulder with her phone in it, and she said, "Use my phone." And Kinley was stuck between my legs, and I couldn't get her out. And there was nothing I could do for her. And then Owen was just beyond where I could reach with my one hand because my left hand was stuck. And he wasn't there anymore. I didn't feel any pain at that time. I just felt horrible because I knew my kids were gone and that my husband was gone. And then my mom said, "I can't do this anymore," and I just felt like her chest breathing and her stomach breathing back and forth, and then she stopped breathing. Here, and I'm fully conscious, and I was afraid. I didn't know what was going to happen. But then I heard Bryson, and he said he was okay, but his foot was stuck. And so at that moment, I knew I had to get help because I didn't know where he was, but I knew he was safe, and maybe if I could get somebody to come to us, that maybe they could save him.
Sheriff's office! You hear us? Hello? They know we have people trapped? Yeah, okay. Hey guys, we got help coming!
I had to call 911 with my nose on my mom's phone because I only had one hand.
We're gonna try to start getting you out, okay? Just hang tight!
I kept trying to keep my little brother Seth calm because he didn't know what was going on. And he kept holding my mom's hand. I just remember all of her bracelets. Bryson kept asking, why can't I hear Dad anymore? And I told him it's gonna be okay, buddy, just keep breathing and people will come help us. And so eventually I heard voices and just started screaming for them to come find us.
I got voices back here underneath all this.
And I just closed my eyes when they pulled them out because I didn't know what I was gonna see and I was too afraid to see anything. I just remember all the pain all at once, and it was a lot. But I just kept asking them to tell me when Bryson got out safe. Like, I needed to know he was out safe. And when they finally told me that he was out and he was okay, that was like a huge relief to know at least I still had one of my family members still here.
Can I check?
Yeah. You can put me in here too. You don't want to push too hard, but
That is really gross.
Bryson ended up with a sprained ankle. He had cuts on his leg and on his arm, and he had a black eye, but no broken bones. He somehow was underneath everybody, but something was able to cover him in a way that he didn't get stuck in there. It just doesn't make sense for people to lose their lives and then other people to just kind of, for a loss of words, just walk out. It just, I don't know, doesn't make a lot of sense. These were Owen's boots. They were very worn because he wore them every day. I like to keep them here so I can see them always. Kinley's boots weren't found. They didn't end up finding her boots. That was Owen's little alpaca that he got the day of the tornado. This was the giraffe that Owen had taken up to Mimi and Papa's house, and after the tornado they found our dog laying with him. This is Kinley June going to her first day of school. And that was her backpack from kindergarten. And it has all of her stuff in it from kindergarten, including her yearbook. Her classmates all signed it for her. And they did a memory page for her. And as you can tell, she loved to dress however she felt good in. She had wigs and costumes. And then these two were super special because they were her Mimis, so they were from the 60s. She loved to dress up. I think that was to go pick up brother and sister from school. Yep, there's Kinley. She was fierce, but I wasn't done being a mom to littles. And I've even thought, like, maybe one day I'll have more kids, but with great love comes great grief, and I don't know if I want to do that again. Friends and family brought in our family's ashes. That was the first time since everything that we got to hold them, and we cried so much so we ended up falling asleep just like that. So this is my mom, her ashes, and a beautiful cross that someone sent for her. And here's Kinley, and just some of her things. And then Owen, and a lot of his little things. And then here's my husband, Mike. And then I got a bracelet, and it came with a card that says, "Do what you can with what you have where you are." And that was, Mike was really big on, like, it is what it is, we will get through this. And so I try to keep remembering that. Building a life with Mike and having our 3 kids, it was a dream. He was a talker. He talked to anybody and everybody, and I was always just there by his side. We had Bryson before we got married, and so Bryson was in our wedding. It was really sweet. Being a mom is my favorite. I love doing stuff with them. I love playing with them. It was wild, always, and I loved it that way. The kids were usually all playing together. Mike and I actually were like, maybe one more. But that didn't happen, and that was okay.
She basically loves me, takes care of me, and hangs out with me, and a bunch more.
I love you. So being that my dad died right before I turned 9 was the same for Bryson. It's very hard knowing that he did have those siblings that he was supposed to grow up with and have his dad there by his side to teach him all the things that I don't know how to do. And then one of them the whole egg. Do you want to do the whole egg and I'll do the egg whites?
Yeah.
And I think that's why it hurts so much. But I am very blessed to have been able to experience that huge amount of love. I think, like, if it were the other way around and Mike made it and I did not, I would hope to God that he enjoyed life still and found things that made him happy and kept going, because I would be so sad to see him just give up. We're just trying to find the balance in this new life. And new beginnings looks like puppies.
Look, girl, bring it here. Oh, she lost. She never brings it back.
We got 2 puppies last year, and they've already brought us so much joy and just kept us going. I mean, you have to take care of your puppies, so you have to get out of bed and you have to let them out and feed them, and they make you love them.
One of my friends actually lives across the street from me, and then I have one that lives right over there.
Also just spending more time with our friends. I mean, they're our family now, so it's very important to us. There was so much love in our family, so much.
Powerful stories that change the way you think.
Impactful investigations that change the way you see.
How many times has your car been stolen?
5 times.
Yeah.
What? Do you think that you're a responsible owner of tigers?
I damn sure do.
Heartwarming moments that change the way you feel.
Amazing.
Now available in a place that changes the way you watch TV. Inside Edition, streaming.